So today, we're presenting with our partner RIT, and Sarah Barrell will be explaining how Campus Groups was implemented at RIT and how they are embedding technology at all levels of student affairs. So thank you very much, and please welcome Sarah.
Good morning. Like Yorick said, my name is Sarah Barrell, and I work at the Rochester Institute of Technology, or RIT. I am the Division of Student Affairs Applications and Business Analyst. So just to give you a little bit of a background, I am not a technology person. I just happen to meld into a technology role. I've been at RIT for 14 years now. I started in residence life. I have a higher ed background. Worked my way up, got interested in technology, and now I run the technology for the division. So it's a little bit of a unique opportunity to meld technology with a long-term higher ed, student affairs, traditional engagement background. So it's been really successful for our school. Today Yorick invited me to come here today and talk a little bit about engagement technology. All of us in our roles talk about engagement and how we engage our students on our campus. So many of our directors and AVPs and vice presidents are asking for us on data. How are our students engaging? How do our students participate on campus? And we all know the research shows engaged students tend to persist, be retained, and graduate from campus. So now we need the engagement data to back it up. So you can't get data without having a vehicle to obtain that data. So my role in the division is to help implement the technology to get the data, to do the assessment, and look at student trends across campus. As Yorick had said, it really is a partnership. So many times we bring technology onto campus and it's cookie cutter, out of the can technology. We don't do anything out of the can at RIT. We like to do things very different. Not everything is customized. We have a very unique population, so we have a lot of needs. So to be able to find a vendor that was willing to partner together to build a technology was really important to us. Just a real quick snapshot of RIT. We are in Rochester, New York, or more, our campus is in Henrietta. We actually have 3 global campuses as well. We have just under 16,000 students, undergrad, and just over 3,000 graduate students. We have 11 college and a very, very robust high-functioning co-op program. We also host the National Technical Institute for the Deaf, so accessibility through technology is extremely important to us. We have D1 and D3 athletics that fall under student affairs, and we have over 500 clubs and organizations active on campus. So what does the T do in my title? So I am part of the Assessment Technology and Communications Department for Student Affairs. My role is to support all 27 departments in implementing new technologies and helping them identify what their problems are and using technology to solve some of them. Now that we have a great partner on campus, majority of my job is helping them understand how to use campus groups to solve their problem, and it's really, we haven't found something that Campus Groups hasn't been able to solve. So I work very closely with all of the departments, including our assessment manager, to make sure that we're implementing technology to get the right data and to support our students and staff appropriately. So we're going to touch a little bit on a few things today. We're going to talk about how RIT struggled prior to implementing Campus Groups. We're going to talk about how we went through the process of assessing our needs and prior to getting the technology. Now that we have it, what does that look like, and what's our future together? So, before Campus Groups, RIT did have an engagement technology, but it was implemented about 8 years ago. We did not think very strategically about implementing the engagement technology that we had. My role in my department didn't exist when that was implemented, so it was implemented very siloed and segmented across the division. There was no unity in the implementation. There was no strategy and no thought, so we really, really struggled. Some of the issues that we are finding is that we had a contract with a company, but we were paying other companies to fill gaps. So we were going up and using Sign Up Genius, or we were using SurveyMonkey and all these different subsets to fill gaps in which the technology was not providing for us. So each department was spending money and resources to fill their gaps instead of looking at a divisional solution. We are also having major data security issues. Data security at institutions is extremely important now. We want to make sure our students are protected, that their information is not out there and it be able to be hacked or stolen. So we are having problems with student ID numbers and other data issues. We were really not fulfilling, so our solution was meant for students. Some of the students were using it. Well, we weren't feeling the needs of the departments, the administrative needs of gathering engagement data, gathering analytics, having a back-end solution for administration to be able to use to do the functionality that we needed as a division. We had a very low implementation rate of our students. Very few students used the technology. We required them to log in to register events, and that's the only reason they ever logged in. So we were spending a lot of money on a solution that was not being used across campus. And we had very little data, and the data that we did have was not strategic, and we couldn't pull that information. So if someone wanted to know how many students were engaged in clubs this semester, that was not data we could pull because it wasn't implemented in a strategic way. And we had a lot of high rates of frustration, and when students are frustrated and staff are frustrated, they don't use the technology. Then it starts to be a bad culture, and they're like, oh, I gotta use this, you're gonna force me to use this. And it's not just a culture, it's not a positive implementation of engagement opportunities on campus. So our division stood back, and we actually, my job was actually created as part of the strategic plan. So I've been in my position about 2 years. Part of the strategic plan was to increase engagement across campus, which many colleges are trying to do. But one of the objectives was actually to explore the feasibility of creating, implementing, and assessing systems which promote opportunities to plan, track, and share engagement experiences. So this is actually available on our website as well, and we can provide that information. We actually embedded into our strategic plan the goal of implementing engagement technology. Why was that the benefit? It made it a divisional project. It was not just Res Life or Campus Life. It was the entire division coming together and saying we needed a solution to be able to assess the engagement of our students on campus, which when you have 17,000 students is not always easy to do. So when I was hired, my first role was to make a move. We had made the decision, which is a very big decision, to cancel our current contract and go upon the very large-scale project of finding a new technology. One of my first weeks on the job, I had a call with Yorick. Someone met him at NASPA. I had calls with other companies as well. And that is sort of how that relationship starts. You meet a vendor at a conference, you go to a presentation, you hear about the solution. But what was really important for me in our division is to have those calls, but take a step back and start really assessing what we really wanted from a solution. So what we did is we created a task force across the division that I chaired. And we picked people in the division that represented all of the areas that may potentially use this technology, including clubs or an organization. So we had representatives from student government, we had representatives from student clubs and organizations and leaders, we had representatives from multiple departments, even our non-traditional departments, such as leadership and religious life and things like that. We met and we did massive brainstorm sessions, a lot of sticky notes, a lot of just throwing out ideas of what are our needs, what are we frustrated with, what can't we do, what is the data we don't have, what do our students need? And we just had sessions upon sessions of building those requirements that we wanted upon a solution. It was a couple months. We have a fellow she was part of the solution. We had multiple meetings to really get through this. And it was really important for us to build a really, really robust requirements document, or RFI, to be able to send to the vendors to make sure they were meeting our needs and they weren't pushing a product upon us. We wanted to make sure we were going to purchase a solution that was going to be long-term and not just something to fill a gap or put a Band-Aid on. We did focus groups with students. I really wanted to understand why they were frustrated with the current solution, what they needed out of their clubs and organizations, what they wanted to see in a mobile app. There's a lot of opportunities for mobile apps out there. We actually found out from our students they don't love mobile apps. They will download it, that's fine, but they would rather a responsive website that they can pull up on any technology that they wanted. So it was important to us to find a company that could provide us both. Student leaders were very important. They were going to be the people that drove the culture of using this product, especially our student government, our college activities board, our orientation office. They were going to be the people that were going to help promote the positive culture of implementation. And then we built a requirements document. I worked with our information technology services. We built a requirements document. We worked with our procurement office to make sure that we had all the information necessary. And then we started our demos. I think what's really, really important is that you're going into demos with companies knowing what your needs are. Yorick and I talk all the time. The companies that are here to help you provide a solution, not to just give you a cookie cutter opportunity and say, now make it work for your institution. Everyone's institutions is different. We all have different needs and different students and different populations, and we need to help find companies that are flexible to help meet those needs. So don't be afraid to advocate for yourself when you're trying to find a solution. Some of the requirements that we came up with, we needed more effective ways to manage our clubs and organizations. When you have well over 500 clubs and organizations, our clubs team was inundated. They just couldn't manage it. They needed to be able to have ways for students to manage their rosters in the system, run reports on information, have it flexible for each unique club, but also have consistency across the board. We needed students to be able to seamlessly access information about how to be engaged. So I'm not a student leader, but I come onto campus during orientation, and maybe I don't want to even join a club, but I want to find an event that's going on campus. Or I just want to go to a club meeting. I shouldn't have to wait to the club fair to walk up to a table and write my name on a piece of paper and hope the officer emails me back. We needed ways for students to be able to find clubs and be engaged on campus. And we needed increased agility and efficiency for our staff in student affairs. One of our major goals in student affairs is to make things easier for our staff so that we can focus time and energy on other things. So we needed a way to be able to manage administrative functions of clubs, budgeting, liability, waivers, all the things that we have to do for clubs and organizations. And then we needed major data. We have a vice president who loves data, so we needed the opportunity to be able to get that for her. And not just who's involved in what clubs, but what events are going on campus. What are departments doing to engage students, not just what clubs are doing. So one of the things that I really challenge our offices to think about is don't think about the technology. Take the technology, don't come to me and say, I want the technology to do this. Can you make sure that's color-coded? Because I want to be able to come up on my screen and see that. I want you to think about what is the problem you are trying to solve. And then let's look at the technology and how it can help solve. And then what did students really come out of it? They did not want something flashy. They didn't want just another app to download. They wanted something that was simple, easy to use, and that worked for them. We come from a technology school. Our students build apps all the time, so they have a very low rate of if it doesn't work, I'm deleting it. So we needed something that worked and wasn't going to be glitchy, and it offered them the function that they needed. They didn't need fancy, huge pop-ups and glitz and glam. They wanted simplicity. So why did we choose CampusGroups? One of the major reasons, it was simple and easy to use. It's an extremely intuitive technology. Our students who are the tech savvy of the tech savvy like it, and our students who know nothing about technology find it extremely easy to use. The same goes for our staff. You can build and make it better if you do know a lot about technology, but if your office is smaller and you have very few resources, it offers all the functionality that you need. It's extremely flexible, and it fit our requirements. When I went into our demos with Yorick in our requirements, which some of them were a little crazy, let's not, we wanted everything under the sun. His answer wasn't, no, our solution doesn't offer that. It was, hey, let's work together and see how we can build that. And that was really important for us. We have an event management system on campus, and we needed to be able to integrate with that. And you have to find a vendor that's willing to integrate and work with the other vendors you have on campus, whether it's Banner or PeopleSoft. We use Nelnet on our campus for our payment gateway, or it's PayPal, or it's an event management system. You have to find a vendor that's willing to work with what your constraints are with the systems you already have on campus. It was extremely easy to upload and maintain our student data. When you have 17,000 students, you need to be able to upload that information. We upload 17,000 students in about 5 minutes. We do it a couple times a semester. We're actually working on a future automation through our PeopleSoft we're starting a new project to try to get that. So that was really, really important to us. We needed to be able to batch upload information. Maintaining 500 clubs is hard. So we needed to be able to batch upload, and that was really, really important to us. And we needed a robust and dynamic event system that could provide a lot of the different features of event management, including registration and ticket purchasing and wait lists and attendance tracking. We needed all of that. And communication. We were using things like SurveyMonkey and other communication tools to communicate with our student population. As this data steward of the division, that's not great for us because our student data is being put into a bunch of different systems. So we needed to find one system that we could host all of our student data and communicate from there. And that CampusGroups offers a super robust communication tool. And we needed multiple attendance tracking. We were very reliant on our student ID cards, but students don't always carry their ID cards. And honestly, our ID cards are a very insecure way because they use their ID numbers. So we needed ways for students to be able to check into events that did not rely solely on ID cards. CampusGroups offers, we use 3 different ways, but I'm almost positive they offer 4 as well. Different ways to track attendance, and you can actually do them all at the same time. You can switch in between them, which was really important to us. And robust reporting. We needed to be able to get our data out of the system and provide it to other people. And then granular security. We wanted each department to sort of have their own security, and each different type of group needed to be able to have that security as well. So we're able to really identify who needs to see what student data is necessary for them to see, what clubs and organizations are necessary for them managing. In the past, it was always all or nothing for us. So we had numerous admins in the system, and that can be scary when you're managing a lot of information. So really the main reason why we chose CampusGroups is that it was an innovative and growing company, and it offered a great business model and great customer service that met our needs. You want to, when you're on the phone with a vendor on a regular basis, you want to be able to enjoy your interaction with them and not have a frustration, and that was really important to us. And we wanted a company that was willing to grow with us as we changed. We are not static as institutions. Our strategic plans change. We have a new president this year, so he has new ideas and he has new ways if he wants to do things. So our technology has to be able to grow with us and change around that growing environment. As our students' needs change, as different initiatives come onto campus, we had to be able to do that. And CampusGroups was willing to grow with us and have that opportunity to watch their business grow, but also watch our success grow. So when you find a vendor that's just as interested in your success as they are their own, that's a partnership that is really important. So we chose CampusGroups. Happily ever after. It was all set. That was just the start. We signed our contract in about May of last year, and we did not implement until August. It was actually an extremely quick implementation for a vendor and for us, but we had timelines and things that we needed to meet. So for us, it was important that we found a vendor that was willing to take a crazy drive with us and say, let's do this in 2 months, and it did. We did it. It was a long summer, but we made it happen. So what did we do to integrate? We did multiple different integrations. We have single sign-on. So if your institution has the need for students to be able to log in through whatever single sign-on provider you use, we were able to integrate with that. We were able to do an integration with EMS and do a data feed of all of our events over into CampusGroups. We were able to upload over 17,000 users, configure over 400 groups, and offer training to applicable staffs and students, and also roll out a marketing campaign prior to orientation. So those are, when you have a really strong team and you have a position in the division that focuses solely on doing that, it makes it really easy. But there are ways to implement a technology very quickly when you have a vendor that can work well with you. So we're always changing. When we implemented CampusGroups, we had a list of priorities of things that we needed to go live before orientation. It was really important for us, our clubs, to be all uploaded. We needed to be able to have our events in the system and attendance tracking live. But we knew they offered so many different functionality that was not going to be 100% implemented when we went live. And that was okay. It drove my ITS department insane because they wanted a complete go live on day one. I'm like, it's okay, it's gonna grow, it's gonna build. That's what engagement technologies do. They're really shells, and once you start getting students in them and staff in them, that's when the solution really starts to build and grow. I even learned about a new functionality yesterday that I'm super excited to go back to our campus and implement. So we needed to have a few things ready, but over the last year, academic year, we've really grown and maintained our system and now are ready to expand even more. So we're constantly collaborating with campus groups to train staff on new functionality, whether it's doing new demos, new training opportunities, me understanding a solution, and then bring it back to my staff to train them on it. We're constantly emailing and saying, hey, we have this idea, how can we use the system to do that? And then we find a new feature and roll that out. So every month we're rolling out new features and training our staff on new features. Some of the things that we had to improve just to get going and go live, our institution is extremely rigid on their data security. So we had to go through an entire data security review, which they passed with flying colors. But it was really great that they were willing to do that and make tweaks and modifications to meet our institution's needs for security. Our events feed was an ongoing project. We are going live with our events technology and space management system at the same time as CampusGroups. So as we did upgrades to the event system, we had to do upgrades to CampusGroups, and they were fantastic in helping us figure that project out and move that forward. We had some needs for enhanced attendance tracking. We have a lot of locations that wanted to track attendance, whether it was our study centers, our food share, certain offices, and that was a need that we had that we pushed forward. And Yorick and his team were fantastic in helping build different functionality and multiple ticket check-ins and self-swipe-in stations so our students could be able to do that. And then we needed a few tweaks in security, different data fields that needed to be locked down, different things that we couldn't let students change based on our API that we had going on. And we worked with CampusGroups to be able to lock all of that information down. And then we're constantly improving. I think I send nagging emails on a daily basis. Even when we're here together, I'm sending emails and asking them to help us fix things or tweak things or help solve problems that our users are having. So today, in our system, we've brought well over 10,000 events into our system. We have sent over 600 email communications, have 8 different locations for attendance tracking, location-based attendance tracking. We've now added all of our student affairs staff and are using it as a divisional professional development tracking. And we're offering trainings on a monthly basis to train clubs, organizations, staff, student leaders, and student employees on how to use the system more effectively. I wanted to just highlight a few of our departments on campus that are using it. I think what's important is because it was a divisional project, it wasn't just our stereotypical offices that got involved. Yes, Campus Life is a major user, but I wanted to tell you guys about a few of the unique other opportunities that we are using to help track engagement on campus. So of course our Campus Life office and our clubs office is using it very robustly. They communicate with all their clubs and organizations, send out their weekly newsletter to all their clubs and organizations. Finance and budget communication, so they have their own page in the system, our finance team, and they're able to communicate and identify the treasurers very easily and be able to have trainings for them and host documentation for them. We have numerous approval workflows, whether it's making sure posters are copyright approved, making sure waivers are signed, making sure space agreements are done. The system allows us to do approval notifications and workflows that can go through multiple people and notify the students when certain things are approved in the system. We have our club recognition process, so every year clubs need to be re-recognized to make sure that they're meeting our standards in finance. We actually have now implemented that fully into CampusGroups using the survey module and the club's pages to be able to do that. The newsletter is huge. We no longer have to use MailChimp to try to send out our newsletters. They offer extremely robust communication and newsletter system that you can actually offer templates right in the system that you can build newsletters and send them out. And they're using the inventory tracking, so they have a lot of things, whether it's credit cards or our attendance tracking technology or even in rolls of duct tape that they hand out. We're able to track that inventory and which clubs and which students are checking that out, and they have an entire check-in, check-out process in the system. Our International Students Office is actually using it very robustly, and it's really exciting to work with them because they've never had a technology that's worked for them. They are definitely using location-based attendance tracking, so when students come into their office, they check into their office, and then they actually have a student that watches things check in, and they're able to notify the different advisors when students come into the office. They're also asking questions about when they check in, what are you here to check in about? They're using the communication model extremely robustly, so we get information out of our student information system about which international students they are and what visa type they have. We're tagging them by visa type in the system, and we're able to communicate out with them based on different immigration policies in workshops and events that they're required to attend based on their visa type. We're also able to tag them by country, which is really important. We have a model that if there's a natural disaster or any type of emergency in a country, we try to communicate with all of our students from that country. So we're very, very quickly able to go into the system, identify which students are from Puerto Rico, and get communication to them out very quickly. They are using it for their orientation registration, so prior to coming to campus, which was really important to us to have a solution that was available abroad, whether you're in Saudi Arabia, or you're in India, or you're in Brazil. We needed a system that students could get on and do registration prior to orientation. So that was a really big deal. They never had an orientation registration system before. And then they're using our survey tool to collect applications for their student leaders and using the job board to post their applications out as well. And then of course they're doing the event tracking and data collection, which is super important for international students because they need to meet immigration regulations and know which students attended which immigration workshops. Our Residence Life is using it, which is pretty stereotypical, but I love to see how they're using it. They got rid of all of their websites and wiki pages and now have their own hidden lockdown staff page where their staff are doing all of their communication in regards to training, community development. They have approvals and workflows. They do anything in regards to requests for finances. They are hosting all of their training events in the system so the students can log in and see what training they need to go to. They're communicating with their RAs and their grads based on staff and what building they're in. And they're using the tags and notifications to, whether what staff you're on, what area you're in. Are you an apartment, RA, or are you a residence hall RA? Are you a grad student versus undergrad, and how are we communicating in the system? Our leadership office and civic engagement is also using it extremely heavy. They do a lot of community service events on and off campus. So they're able to now have a registration system where they can go, have people RSVP, have a wait list, be able to collect all the data and information they need prior to trips. They're heading out to alternative spring break in a week, and they are able to use the system to manage all of the trips and the registrations for all of them. They also have some student organizations, and then we're also able to do a bunch of different things with community service hours, tracking, data, and assessment. And then just a few of the others. Like I said, our entire division is using it for our staff to help do all of our communication and our event tracking. Our student government's using it heavily. They have a system called Project Spirit, which you get points for going to certain events. We're looking to actually implement the badges in the system next year for that, so we're really excited. Center for Women and Gender are using it for their newsletter and their information. It's great because anytime a student swipes into an event, it gathers the information as a contact, a part of the group. So Center for Women and Gender is then sending out information about other events coming up and other information that the students might want. Our Spirituality and Religious Life office is using it for their clubs and organizations. They even had a day at Mass, one of the services, where students can come up and swipe their card, so they became a contact to the group, and then get more information about the other religious activities going on campus. We have wellness teams that are using it for all of their events, and we're looking to implement the badges as well. Our commuter lounge has a couple different event tracking. Every time someone needs coffee, they do it so they can start to look at how much coffee they're using, how much they need to order, and they can project out on resources. Same thing for printing. We offer a printing service for commuter students. And it's a great way. We actually upload all of our commuter students into their page and tag them as if they're in, we call them off campus but near campus, and then really homebound commuter students, we can tag them and communicate with them appropriately. So we use a lot of data from our student information system to upload membership and tag them so that we can have communication with certain subsets of students. Our tutoring centers or study centers use it to track attendance, and they also are able to gauge what they're there for tutoring for, so they can, all the attendance tracking is date and time stamped, so we can see when the high rates of participation are in the study centers, and then schedule tutors effectively. And then we have a food share on campus too, and we're able to track students who are attending the food share. Not only can we gauge how much food they're taking out, we know students that may be in need and can reach out to them once we have their information in the system. So coming soon, we are working very hard to implement the budget module. We are looking to do a Nelnet integration, which has taken a little bit of time, but we're really excited that CampusGroups is willing to help us integrate with Nelnet. So in the fall, we're going to go live with the budget and finance module and allow all of our students to be able to purchase tickets, sell merchandise. It was really a big deal for us to get the cash out of students' hands. We don't want our students handing cash back and forth. You know, I got $1,000 under my bed in a shoebox. That was something that we really wanted to stop. So the Nelnet integration is going to be a big deal, and we're going to partner with them to make that one of the companies that they integrate with. We're also going to go live. We didn't do it in time last year, so we're excited this year to make our orientation 100% campus groups. So we're actually going to build an app and do an add-on for an orientation app, which is a subset of the main app in the system. And all of our freshmen are going to download the app, and we're going to do all of our events, registration, attendance tracking, and communication through campus groups for orientation. We're really excited. We're also going to use our student checklist. We're going to start building checklists for our international students and our first-year students so that they know what they need to do on campus. I'm really excited. The demo we just had about it, you can actually attach a checklist to events or certain surveys that they need to fill out or forms in the system. And then once they attend an event, it will automatically cross it off their checklist. So that's exciting. And then we're also going to look at the badge for event initiatives. So looking at students earning badges for attending a certain events and being able to reward prizes or give them opportunities on campus based on the badges. And then we're also looking at an automated user API so that we can have a regular upload of student data instead of doing it manually, which is super easy to do manually, but it's also nice if we could do it on a more regular basis to clean up our users in the system. So why is collaboration with a vendor so important? Because you have to have a relationship for the technology to work effectively on your campus. If it's not working effectively, if it's not meeting your needs, our students and staff are not going to be using it. And you're going to be paying a contract that is going to be draining your resources for no reason. And that's super important, to be able to find a vendor that's willing to work with you and be flexible with your needs and move with your institution was vital for us, and we found that in CampusGroups, and I wouldn't be presenting here today if I didn't believe in the company and the business model that they were having. The flexibility was key. It was so important to us to be able to change and grow. When you have a product, you know, and you sign a 5-year contract, you don't know where your institution's going to be in 5 years. You don't know what society's going to bring, what political protest is going to be next, what issue is going to be hot topic in student affairs. We're a changing industry now. Every semester it's a new issue that we're dealing with, and we needed our technology to be able to work with us. And having a collaborative partnership with a vendor, not just a contract, allows us to do that. Every school is unique. We know we are. We own it. We are very unique, and we need a strong technology that supports our business model, our business practices. So we didn't want to buy a technology that we were forced into the way they thought it was successful. You know, there's so much research out there. We all know the research on student development and engagement, and a lot of companies are grabbing onto that research and creating a cookie cutter opportunity and saying, here, download this app, or here's a technology that fits your needs. But does it? Does the research fit all of our students' needs? Probably not. So being able to customize your technology and the solution for your campus, working with the company to make it fit, was really important for us. So just going back to the initial question, how do we build better engagement technologies? We need to have partnerships with the company that we're working with. You really need to know as a campus leader what your needs are. What is the problems you're trying to solve? Don't buy a technology and then try to identify the problems. Do it the other way around. Tech companies need to listen and adapt, and we talk on a regular basis. The fact that, you know, you can have a really amazing technological solution, But if you don't know the trends in the industry or what your solution is trying to help solve, that's going to be really hard as a company. So the partnership and the constant understanding of these are what's going on at our university, how can your company help us fill those needs is very important. And the conversation must keep going. It's not just we buy a product, here it is, and it stays stagnant. We need to grow together. We need to be constantly improving together. You know, we come to the campus groups with a solution, and they help us drive a crazy idea, and now other schools are able to take advantage of a product that we helped work together. And we do it all the time with collaboration. And sharing those improvements with other schools. You know, working with other schools to say, what are you doing? How can, you know, campus groups did that for you. Ooh, can I get on that? And when you have a company that's willing to partner with other schools and put you in touch with other people using the system, it helps us build a better technology and better solutions on our campus. So we wanted to share with you all of what we've done at RIT with campus groups. And we have a few minutes if anyone had some questions that they wanted to put out to myself or to Yorick. Yeah?
Going back to your slide, the present slide.
Yeah.
You mentioned how there's like an RA workflow. Can you talk about in general about the workflow functionality within the campus group?
Oh, yeah, sure, we are using the workflow, so it depends on how you want to do it. There's a couple different opportunities through the survey function and the workflow function. You can have a very simple, you know, submit a survey and then approve or unapprove or, you know, but then you can also send out more complex workflows, like it needs to go to this person and then this person and this person. And we use both different functionalities through the survey and workflow feature. And if you want to talk a little bit more about the...
Sure. Yes, through the survey and forms module, we have logic and a workflow attached to each question, workflow mechanism. So when there's a question such as, how many attendees are you expecting for this event, and it's above 200, then we're going to bring in public safety in the approval of this event. Otherwise, we don't. That's just an example. And there is a group of approvers who have a discussion platform to discuss privately together on can they approve or not this event. Right now we are building multi-step workflow where you'll have an initial one department approving the request, and if this request is approved by this department, then we'll send it to other departments.
So the workflow would cross staff or students, you can apply to either side.
Yes.
Yeah,
we're using it both ways.
Every group can have its own surveys, forms, and workflows, so we want to empower, we're trying to be extremely flexible and empower the students as much as we empower the staff, so they have the same tools, and so they can create their own workflow internally within their organization.
That was important for us too, because our departments have administrative needs, but clubs do too. You know, they want to be able to have their own internal workflows or elections or send out their own communication. So each club has the ability to use the same tools that our entire campus life department does. Now they don't have access to everything else in the system, and they only have, you know, access to the roster they upload. But once they do that and they use it robustly, they can use every tool that the administration uses as well.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah?
You're welcome.
So going off of that, the student groups being able to manage their side of things, can they do it from the aspect where, like, if someone wants to join, then they can have communication within that area?
So you're saying, can the groups communicate with their own members?
Yeah, so if
Yep.
they wanted to have, I guess, like a portal or something where they could have,
Yes.
they upload their constitution,
Yes.
upload their
Right.
roster.
Yep. Each club has their own page, so what's available to the people that are members. So each club also has an external website that when you click on it, it will be available to non-members as well, or even people that aren't logged into the system. But then they have their own internal page that only members that are validated can see, and you can upload documents, do surveys, the best, anything, events, anything you want in the system. And the best part about it is you can actually take permissions away from certain types of membership. So whether they're a contact or a member, validated or unvalidated, past member, officer, they all have granular security so that you can offer different things to different populations. So each club can customize, you know, we have a group, a transgender group on campus that want to keep things much more locked down and secretive. And they can do that, but then we also have, you know, our juggling club on campus that wants everyone to come and juggle and know everything about their system and their organization. So they have the option and the opportunity to customize that.
Can you guys talk more about the website piece? Is it, like, do you have the ability to do all the HTML
So yeah, we have two website builders. We have a simple one that allows you to go WYSIWYG and change the HTML yourself of every single page. You can, you have pieces when you can inject JavaScript or HTML or CSS on top of your website. If you're very advanced, an advanced developer, you can create your own website from scratch, looking exactly the way you want it. And then we have we are implementing themes with drag and drop capability. From the left side, you drag. We have all these different widgets, you know, list of officers, list of upcoming events, about us, all these pre-created widgets that are actually sometimes dynamically generated. You can drag them and drop them in the middle of the website and change the text yourself without doing any HTML and save it, and it's live right away. We do both extremes of website development, yeah.
And we have clubs doing both. You know, some of our clubs are super tech savvy and they can make it happen, and other clubs just want a page that they can put some text on. The best part about it is when they updated the information in their membership page, it automatically updates their website as well. So you're not managing two different information, because we know students can barely manage one, let alone saying, can you go manage two? So,
Right.
I think you had a question.
Yes?
So if you talk to the functionality and the look of like the website versus the app, and like, do you have the same possibilities and the same kind of feel on both? Because I know sometimes with like the mobile website and the computer website, sometimes things get lost or things are.
So, yeah, no, definitely. And I can talk as an administrator. I don't use the app as much. There's certain things as the administrator I can't go in and do on the app. But our students have found that the app is completely as accessible as the website. There's definitely things that are easier to log into a desktop. You know, our students carry laptops around constantly, and they'll just log in, and it's, you know, to upload rosters or manage their members or things like that. But from the everyday end user, I feel like the same information is on the app and the same look and feel is on the website. Everything's named the same. There's a consistency across both platforms. We were able to make the colors all branded, you know, to our institution. So you're not downloading an app that doesn't look and feel like your institution, which was really important. And so I feel like there's a really good mix. There's definitely an app function that you can do on the app, just because, you know, doing it's not, you know, building your website or your membership. But you can create events, you can manage events. We found with the app, everything is driven off the phone, so we don't need a separate technology for students to do attendance tracking. They can do it right from their phone, which is really, really helpful, and it helps with resources. So you're not buying separate technology for student clubs and organizations to do that.
So does it has its own internet platform already within the app, then is that correct?
So we have the regular web platform that you can open on a computer or an iPad. If you go on a phone, it's responsive, so it's reducing the size of the pages, and it's putting a burger menu. So it's trying to adapt as much as possible on the phone. We have about 1,000 different pages, so it's a lot of different modules. So that's for the admin side. A lot of the time they will use a computer because they need to build a newsletter, a website. They need more functionalities like filtering capabilities, so they end up being a lot at their desk. For the students, we understand that 90% of the time they'll be on their phone, okay? So, and the end goal for us is to engage the students. We want to empower the administrators and the student leaders, but we need them to create content and opportunity for the other thousands of students. So the app, the mobile app on iPhone and Android has to be extremely simple, quick, easy to access. Once you're in, you don't have to log on again, and you can see all the upcoming events very quickly. In 2 clicks, you can RSVP to an event. You can ask a question campus-wide and get an answer right away. You get push notifications. It's true that it's 2 different worlds, right? The app for the students is a very efficient, very streamlined app, very quick. And the web platform is extremely advanced when you need something more advanced.
I think what's important, though, as an administrator, I don't have to do anything different to make the app function. It's the same technology, it's just the app version versus the web version. So I do everything on the web, and it updates the app. Like I said, I log in, I have the app, but I rarely, as the campus administrator, am using it. And I just know whatever I do on the website is going to replicate on the app.
The websites are responsive, for example. All the website themes that we have are responsive. So when you are an organization and you create a few great pages, it's great for the prospective students of the university to find these pages on their phone and to look really great.
I think we have time for one more question.
Yes?
I'm wondering what kind of implementation, you mentioned the international students are pulling in data, so are you pulling in your university data into CampusGroups?
Yep.
So how's that working?
Yeah, so it's not a direct integration, but we download reports from our student information system on a regular basis, write queries out of PeopleSoft, pull the data, and then we upload that into CampusGroups. So you can batch upload, as, for example, visa type. So as long as I have the student's email address, you can direct and batch upload tags that you build in the system. So we're doing a constant upload process. The lovely thing about it is it's super simple and intuitive, so you don't need to be a tech-savvy person to make it happen. And we train all of our department administrators on the upload process so they can manage their information flow as much as possible.
Again,
From the system, so your reports are in the system, you're not pulling data out to do reports on the student engagement?
Correct. Correct.
and we have both, for uploading it's very easy, so it's easy to get started on CampusGroups, but we have a very strong API as well, and we want to push the schools to integrate with us so they don't have to upload on a regular basis. They will have updates to their students every other night. New students, updated students will be synchronized with CampusGroups. So.
And that's what we'll be doing very soon, so. Great. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. If you guys have any questions, we'll be around for a little bit. CampusGroups also has a booth in the vendor fair, so please feel free to stop by and ask some more questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.